Leaders at the G7 are expected to talk about the fires as well, destroying the Amazon rainforest. Today, Brazilian officials mobilized 44,000 troops to battle the flames. That's an 85% increase from last year. So far this year, there have been more than 76,000 wildfires across Brazil. Manuel Bojorquez reports tonight from Brasilia, Brazil.
After days of protests in Brazil and around the world, Brazilian officials announced they would send in the military to combat the fires that continue to ravage parts of the Amazon, the so-called lungs of the world, which produce a substantial amount of the oxygen we breathe. This is what the aftermath looks like. Leaders at the G7 meeting in France expressed deep concern, from British Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
You're seeing the loss of habitat, the loss of species. We need to escalate this up the global agenda.
To French President Emmanuel Macron. The forest is a treasure of our biodiversity and our climate, thanks to the oxygen that it emits and thanks to the carbon it absorbs, he said. Despite an earlier call from President Trump offering assistance, Brazilian officials said there was no concrete offer of aid from the U.S. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has been loath to let others meddle in Brazilian affairs. But critics say his policies, favoring economic expansion in the Amazon at the cost of environmental protections, are accelerating the destruction. While some fires happen naturally during the dry season, many of these are believed to be caused by farmers clearing land. The Amazon is vital to the fight against climate change, absorbing heat-trapping carbon dioxide. But the more it burns, the more CO2 it puts in the atmosphere.
Flash flood watch until early tomorrow morning. Let's start with meteorologist Tom Sater. He's going to join me now. Tom, what can you tell us about the latest on this flooding in Maryland?
Well, Ryan, it's not over with yet. We're looking at a pattern of rain that we've been stuck in for over 2.5 weeks, with all of the southeastern U.S. getting hit with thunderstorms every day. But look at the lightning pattern from areas of the Delmarva region, Washington, D.C. County, kind of curving back to the south and the areas of the southwest. There's a stationary boundary that's been set up for, seems like, over 2 weeks. And with that, we're seeing these thunderstorms ride right along that boundary. We're going to get in closer because we're looking now at most likely what will be round 3 of the thunderstorms moving toward the region. We've already seen rainfall rates 1-2 inches an hour. Some areas have already picked up 4, 5, and 6. And we had one batch, second batch, and we still off to the west have more thunderstorm cells that could drop a couple more inches. This is eerily similar to what happened on the 30th of July just 2 years ago in 2016. This is a historic area. I know it well. It's beautiful. I mean, homes and businesses. When you watch this area, at one end of the town, there's a high terrain, and some will blame it on the topography. Some obviously is the infrastructure of this historic town, because all the water is funneling down to the lower part of Main Street. B&O Railroad Museum. Homes, businesses, everyone who was told to stay in place has had to get up to the second, even third story of these buildings.
Taking over these water bodies to build commercial and residential properties has definitely had its impact with regards to how much water can we conserve and how much water is there for the population that is dependent on it.